Breathe Easy.
Yo, it's your girl T True, motherfucking Breathe Easy podcast. You know how I do. Look who I got with me again.
Jess Aggressive.
Jess Aggressive. And today we are talking some real shit, y'all. Some shit that everybody needs to talk about, but they don't. We got motherfucking
Jody.
And Jody does
taxes and IRS audits.
Hey!
Right? We need that. How interesting.
No, this is so different from what I usually do.
Right.
But it's so important.
Yes.
You know?
A lot of people have a lot of misinformation when it comes to taxes. So I'm happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, no doubt. So what's one of the most, like you said, people have a lot of misinformation. Like, what's one of the most common things that you hear people say where you're like, no, that's wrong?
I know, right?
That children have a specific dollar amount that they equal on your tax return.
Uh-oh.
And I think that comes from the advertising. So a lot of offices will advertise, and I see it all the time. One child equals this.
Right.
Two children equals
Right,
this.
right.
Three children equals
So
that.
that's not right.
It's not. So there's ranges, and everything is actually based on a number of factors. So it's like the relationship of the child to the taxpayer. How old is the child? How much money did you make? There's like a lot of factors that play into calculating that amount. So the amounts that they're giving you are like maybe the maximum that you could possibly get if you're in the perfect scenario. Like you make exactly the right amount of money and your child is exactly that age to fit with that type of money.
Right.
So it's can be a little misleading, but that's what we're here for today, is to kind of straighten it out and
clear out
some of the rumors and the social media messages and posts that people make.
Exactly, and think that they're tax people giving advice.
Right, so let's just clear up. There's no fourth stimulus. We'll just start off with that, because that's there's nothing out yet. There is no talks going on about it. There's nothing going on in Congress. The last one that we got was the $1,400 one, which Biden signed when he first came into office. And if you did not get the first, second, or the third stimulus, right now is your chance to put it on a tax return and get it. So you can still get it,
but you did not get it.
So the first and the second one are filed on a 2020 return. So if you didn't file, or you did file that year but didn't get it, then you would do an amendment to that year. And then the third one is on this tax return here.
Okay.
So when we're filing right now, if you didn't already get it, your tax preparer should be adding it on there. If you're not filing a tax return, like let's just say you didn't work or you didn't have any income but you never got it, then we would do what's called a zero return, and we would just file just for the stimulus.
Oh, you could do that? Okay.
Yes. So
some good information.
If there's if you haven't worked, and also if you're up the road, you can get it also. So if you're
locked up?
Yes, if you're incarcerated, you are eligible to get the third stimulus.
Really?
Yes. So here's the stipulation with that. Obviously, because they're not working, so we file the zero return.
Right.
But the check itself does have to be mailed to the jail or the prison where they're at, and then the prison guards are actually instructed to put it on their books. So it can't go.
So they
it can't go
like
to a family member. It can't go into an account. Well, I mean, if they're locked up and they need money on their books anyway, right? So it kind of works out.
But they suppose you don't want to put $1,500 on your books.
Yeah, you want to help your baby mama out.
Right. Well, you can look at it that way too, but I think they're doing it that way too, just to cut down on the fraud of people using their information and then having it sent somewhere else.
True.
Because that's big too.
Oh yeah, because I did that a couple of times back in my heyday. We use dead people's socials.
No.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Right. I mean, there's still a lot of tax fraud that goes on, but I think that's the main reason that they're having it sent to the jail is so that it actually does go to the inmate. Yeah,
especially after this whole pandemic thing.
Yes,
man, there was so much fraud going on.
Yeah,
because like all this money is out there, everybody is like, gimme.
Unemployment, PPP, SBA.
I'm making notes because I have questions for you and I'm going to forget them.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
So that PPP
that was one
loan thing.
Yeah.
So we can kind of touch on that, but remember that's a government.
True.
So the most that I can tell you on that was that you had to have owned a company since 2019, and you had to have filed consecutive tax returns to qualify for that. So the IRS and the SBA have actually started linking their systems together. So it's obviously going to take years, to go back, right, for them to catch up. But just to give you an example, there was a lot of people going around saying, hey, you can get $20,000. You can get $20,000 from the SBA. In order for you to qualify for $20,000, your company had to have made $96,000 or higher. So with that being said, if you had a company that made $96,000 to $100,000, that means before any deductions. So obviously, a company that's fully operating would have deductions because they have expenses. But before deductions, that means you owe the IRS about $34,000 to $36,000.
Wow.
They're going to go back and they're going to look at it and say, oh, well, you got a $20,000 SBA loan. That means that in 2019 you were supposed to file a tax return for $100,000. Where is it? It's not on file. Okay. So that's going to be, I think, and like I said, it's not anything that's immediate. It's not like it's going to happen tomorrow. I'm pretty sure it's going to take 2, 3, 4 years. We all know how the IRS moves, right? Snails.
Out of nowhere. You're just going to be like,
You're going to be living your life.
But it will catch up.
Right.
So, it's unfortunate because there were people that really did need that money. Yeah. But for the people that were just out there just, using people's information and getting the money, that's unfortunately what's going to happen down the road.
Yeah, because it already started catching up to some
people.
Yeah,
it is.
The bigger ones, yeah.
Is that the one? Okay, so one time I got a call from a friend of mine, and they said, "Oh, I got somebody who can do this loan thing for you due to the COVID, and then they're going to do it. Just give them your information, and then out of the 10, they're going to get like $6,000, and you're going to get 4." I was like, "Hell no, I'm not doing that stupid shit."
Right.
So if anything falls back, it's going to fall back on me. So is that the PPP thing?
That was either the PPP. There was two. So the PPP is called the Paycheck Protection Program. It was actually meant to keep businesses open because remember, businesses were open, but the customers weren't really there.
Right.
Which means that if there's no customers, there's no revenue. I got to lay you off. I got to lay you off and send you home. So they were like, okay, we don't want all the businesses to shut down because if that happens, the economy is going to crash, right? So they said, okay, well, we'll give you this paycheck protection loan. You're going to tell us how much do you normally pay your employees with between an 8 and a 12-week period, and we'll go ahead and we'll give you that money. And as long as you use it for payroll, it'll be forgiven. Right. So, yeah. So as long as you use that money, but again, people were putting, they had 10 employees and they paid them $100,000 a week, and just completely out of proportion. So.
And then I feel like we're paying for that now with like this inflation.
I
feel like they're just getting the money back now.
And it's only going to get worse.
A pack of chicken at Publix, that fried chicken, it used to be like $9 something. It's like $15 now.
Yeah. Well, everything's gone up when you look at it, right? Because now they got to get the economy back up. So usually when the economy goes down, they put out the stimulus, right? And then what do we do with that money? We run out and spend it, right? So what does that do? It perks the economy back up. But people are still not working. Right. There's so many available jobs right now, but because the unemployment keeps getting extended and extended and extended, people are like, I'm making more on unemployment than when I get up every day and go to work. But I might as well stay home.
But who lives in Florida and makes enough on unemployment? They don't pay you shit. You get like $5.75. $5.75 every 2 weeks. Who lives off that?
But I think it's more of a comfort thing, right? So
you're chilling at home,
you can stay
for $600
home,
every 2 weeks
coming in every.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But then remember, they have all these programs paying your rent and stuff like that. So if your rent is paid for, you're not working, and you're getting a check. You're just chilling. Yeah, because we did it. We got our rent paid for 4 months.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the programs are out there, so if you qualify, take advantage of it, right? Everybody else is.
Exactly. I was like, hey, let me give it a shot. And they approved that shit. I was like, oh, shit. 4 months, no rent? Hey!
Right. And that can really help, right? Because those 4 months, you can stack the money that you normally would have had to pay for that.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and rent is not cheap.
But then now everything's doubled. So
it's
like
skyrocketing.
Yeah.
But it came with the increase in people moving here too.
Right.
Because, during COVID, over 150,000 people from New York and California moved here within a matter of months.
Maybe that's why the numbers kept on going up.
Because remember,
crazy.
New York and California they pay even more than we do here. Even though we're high, right? Rent is high, food is high, but in New York and California, it's even higher. So they come here and they're getting the best of both worlds. They get the good weather that they're already used to in California, but cheaper prices. And in New York, they're getting the good weather that they don't have in New York, plus the cheaper prices.
Yeah.
So now we're dealing with there's not enough room for everybody.
So are you saying that we wouldn't know that, but I know a few people that have come from California, New York on that unemployment, living down here in Florida where it's half the cost. Because the unemployment from up there, the unemployment up north is like double than what you get in this bullshit
the cost
Florida.
Of living up there is
more. That's smart.
I know somebody who did that for a whole year.
That's smart.
Not during COVID though.
Yo, because we work at a law firm or whatever. I don't know if you remember, there was this man that every time his property was supposed to go to foreclosure, he kept on filing bankruptcy, and he was doing that for 10 years.
Wow, no, I didn't hear about that.
He would file bankruptcy and purposely not file something
and delay the process.
Right, and then when they're like, okay, start the foreclosure, he'll file again.
Yeah.
He had been doing that for 10 years.
I mean, there's always loopholes to every system.
And he was an attorney,
if you can find the loophole, I mean, I hate to say it, but rich people take advantage of the loopholes every single day. So
that's
especially
with taxes. I just started. I just got a financial advisor, and she was telling me, like, I didn't even know about like the stocks and annuities. She was like breaking it down for me, and I did not know. Like, she was like 401k is bullshit. She was like, if you don't do 401k. There's another, I don't really remember the name, but there's another
probably
thing.
An IRA.
And she was like, what it is that how when the stocks go up, yours go up. But when it goes down, it doesn't go down like with a 401k. It stays. So like say you're at 8,000 and then it goes up, but then the economy goes down, your shit stays at 8,000.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So
what, the 401k goes down?
401k goes down.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Because,
I thought a 401k was just a contribution.
No, but if it's a stock market. So when the stock market goes down, you're whatever you're investing in, it goes down too.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I thought it was just your percentage and they match it and it goes into your 401k. And
yeah, it goes in.
And it just accumulates.
It's an investment.
Right.
Right, I know, but it just accumulates. Oh, I don't remember my money ever fluctuating.
That's why a lot of people pull out of it once they quit a job, or leave a job, they'll pull out the 401k.
But my lady told me not to because I had it at my old job and I'm I got a new job and I was telling her like if I should. She was like, no, leave it. She was like, because they're still gonna contribute to it even though I don't work there anymore.
Right.
Because it's in there.
I think Publix does that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I left it and it sure did. It went up. But just like she said, like I would check it one time and then I'll go back like a week later and it's down. So she was telling me, she was like, when it goes up, let her know and we'll transfer everything into the, you know what I mean?
Right.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a question though. So let's see. If someone, what's the rule on claiming children? Like if someone claims a child and they don't know, are they automatically eventually going to get audited, or does that trigger something for an audit? And
meaning if the biological parent doesn't know?
Well, because I've always heard like, well, if you want to claim them, go ahead and claim them, but I'm going to claim them too. And if you get audited, then that's on you.
Only one person can claim a child per year. So it's done by social security number and name.
Right.
So like let's just say if, you and I had a child together, right? And you're like, okay, I claim the odd years, you claim the even years. But then one year I decide to be, spiteful and claim. Once I hit send on that return and that social security number is registered with IRS, when you go to file, it's going to bounce back.
It will immediately.
Has already been claimed. Right.
Okay.
I have that unfortunately happen a lot too.
Yeah.
I do have clients where, you know, they're separated and there's always like a battle over who files first.
Right.
Wow.
I even had one client, they went as far as actually going to court, and now it's on like court documents. So he claims the odd years or the even years, and she claims the odd years.
Oh, they have an order saying
And
that.
actually,
Okay.
she went ahead and filed this year. And she wasn't supposed to. So we had to send an audit package out and mail his return, but we sent the court documents. So now, because he actually has proof
Right.
that it's his year to claim the child, and, you know, they both equally support the child financially, and she's, you know, back and forth between them. So when the IRS actually does the audit, because he has the proof to actually show that, she's going to end up owing that money back.
Right.
Okay.
So whatever she got, let's just say she got $3,000 extra for claiming that child. When she files next year, they're going to take that plus penalties plus interest.
Wow.
Yeah, she'll probably end up owing them close to like $4,500.
Wow.
Yeah.
Trying to be spiteful.
Right.
Yeah. And unfortunately, that was the case.
I wonder why
yeah.
she did that. Yeah, if she had an order. That's weird. Well, you know, women have different intentions.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that was
stick it to him
a
this
personal. Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. He showed me the text. I was just
Oh,
like,
okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she already had plans.
She
to do
she
that.
planned it out.
So there's no way now to do. I think maybe I'm thinking of something years ago. You could both file it and you happen to get audited or something maybe. So if someone already filed that social, it's going to automatically
It'll
set
bounce back. It'll
back.
say that the dependent has already been claimed, and then obviously we have to make a determination. Like, you know, if you're sitting in my office and I'm going to say, okay, does the child live with you full time? Like nobody else has the right to claim the child. No, the child's with me. You know, I'm the sole
okay.
parent. Okay, so somebody obviously, have you let somebody else claim the child in the past? Then, you know, we just kind of go through a series of steps to find out, because I also have to find out, are you legitimately supposed to be filing the child?
Right.
Because to be honest with you, there are scenarios where the moms don't have custody.
Right,
The moms
right.
are
Oh, yes.
not the ones raising the child. So
Right.
they aren't entitled to be claiming the child when they
Right.
don't have them for that year. It is somebody else that's legally claiming
Right.
the child. So once you kind of go through those motions
And I'm answering yes, yes, yes. I'm supposed to. Yes, me.
then I get
Then
all the
you have
paperwork
to-
together. So I have you collect documents, which will include things like the birth certificates, the social cards. I'm going to need to see the school records
wow.
showing that you're actually the registering parent, and the doctor's records showing that you're the one on file as the emergency contact. You know, you put together an audit package and then you send it off.
Okay.
So if both parents still legally can claim, and both have, maybe there's no court order in effect, and we both just say, okay, we both equally take care of her, both the names are on the school, both the name are on the doctor,
Yeah.
it goes to what's called a tiebreaker, and it's whoever has the higher AGI. So
Wow.
whoever makes more money wins
Oh,
the audit.
really?
It's
What?
the tiebreaker. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Because financially they're more able to take responsibility
Wow.
for the dependent.
Really?
That's a
crazy.
tiebreaker.
That's
But only in
messed
the
up.
case where it's the two biological parents.
Okay.
Obviously, if you're the mother but I'm the aunt, if I can't prove anything, right, you automatically
Right.
win because you're
Right.
the biological mother.
Right. Okay.
Wait, so
Wow.
is it legal to claim other people's kids, or is that it's not legal?
Technically, no. Yeah, there has to be a relationship. It's son, daughter, niece, nephew, grandchild. And
So
then-
you could claim like your niece or your nephew.
Yes.
Okay.
But again, you have to, if you get audited, you have to be able to prove that the
What
child
about
lived with you. and
stepchildren?
as long as you're legally married, you have to have
Oh,
a marriage
really?
certificate. And at that point, you're supposed to be filing married joint. So one of you can't file head of household claiming two stepchildren. They're going to say, wait, those are your stepkids, though. Where's your husband?
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, so if you're married, you have to file married joint?
Yes, you're supposed to. A lot of people don't.
Yeah,
will-
that's all single head of household.
One will
single head
file
of
single,
household.
one will file head of household. They'll both
Right.
file head of household. They'll split the kids up.
Well, I was always told okay, so this is what I was told before I tell myself.
Right.
If you live in the same household, more than one person cannot file head of household.
Correct, because there's only one head of
Head of
household.
household. But my thing about that is, if let's say I'm renting out a room, And that person's response, they're not part of my family. They're just a tenant. Like, I rent out a room. So why can't they be head of household of their household?
Well, technically, because you're the head of the household. You're the
and
owner
that
of the
household
house.
is
Correct.
just the address.
But here's the other thing a lot of people don't know. You don't have to be head of household just because you're claiming kids. The only way that it makes a difference on your actual refund is when you make over a certain amount of money, which is around $20,000.
Wait a minute.
If you make $15,000 for the whole year and claim 3 kids, and I mark you single, your refund is exactly the same amount if I mark you head of household.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no difference.
Right.
That's why I'm saying a lot of people get audited from claiming head of household.
Oh, I see
when
what
they
you're
never
saying.
needed
Well,
to.
they didn't really need to. They could just put
claim
single.
with the kids.
People automatically, it's already been instilled in us that head of household, you making money,
Yeah.
man, you getting a big return.
Or
Okay.
head of household, I have
Right.
kids.
You have
I
kids.
have to claim head of household because I'm claiming dependents.
Gotcha.
No, you don't.
Oh.
Right.
Okay.
So that's what I do too. Like with the people that are claiming niece and nephew, they bring in the documents to show what they have, and yes, this is my biological niece, and so on and so forth. But then I'm like, okay, well, you made 16,000. We're marking you single. The chances of that person getting audited now just got chopped down by at least 50%. Oh. And if she does get audited, all I have to do is send, let's say it's her sister's kid. I got to send her birth certificate, her sister's birth certificate to show that they're biological sisters.
And that's it.
And then the kid's birth certificate to show that that's her sister's biological child.
Right.
I don't have to get doctor's records, medical records, and all that
As
other
a
stuff.
head of household.
Head of household
Okay.
is when you have to prove
So that's-
address, residency. all
See,
that.
that's where your knowledge comes in.
Right.
Not just doing taxes and like, I get the most you can get. Yeah, anybody can, but
anybody can rely
to give
on
me
the
the
software.
peace of mind
Yeah.
later on in life.
To know you're not going to be audited.
And
fuck
that's
that means more.
exactly what I do at Tip Top. Is we literally every client I go over everything. I actually educate my clients as I'm going to say, hey, do you have this? Do you have that? What about this? And a lot of them, when they first come to me for the first year, they're like you're the first person that's ever
Broke it
asked
down
me
for
this.
me.
Usually
Yeah.
I just slide my ID across the table and they just, plunk
Give you
some
the
numbers
paperwork.
and I'm like getting $8,000 back.
So what's the name? You have your own business?
I do. It's called Tip Top Taxes. I actually started my own business in 2018. Before that, I originally started in like 2009. I was working as like a receptionist, a data entry clerk at a tax office in Delray. And just kind of watching everything that was going on.
And then is that where you got the idea, like, you know what? I think I can do this.
Where I got the idea for that, but also just watching all of the illegitimate stuff that was going on.
Yeah.
It's like crazy. And
Do tell.
Yeah, just like, putting their stuff, we call them bumps. So there's like credits that you can put in to bump the refunds, right? Because when I tell you you're getting $8,000 back, you're all like, "Oh, great! Why did I sign?"
Right.
But you don't know that your refund was actually $10,000, and I just charged you $2,000 to do your taxes, right? So I watched it for a couple of years, over and over, and I'm just like, oh, like I have a conscience, so I'm just like, watching these people go in the back office, come out, they're all happy because they're getting 8,000, and then I'm putting the files in the filing cabinet. Their refund was like 9,600, 9,800,
And that's from the bumps that nobody knew about.
They're not discussing it, and because, like I said, when you hear a big number, so. If you're an individual that makes 14,000 for the whole year,
right,
and then you hear somebody
8,000.
tell you you're about to get $9,000 back, you're fine with that, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to question it,
Nope.
Right.
So it was that, and also just the audits. So a lot of these places, like I said, they bump the refunds, overcharge, rip people off, and then they disappear and they leave them high and dry.
Someone who makes $14,000 a year to pay back the IRS $9,000 or whatever it was, plus interest and penalties.
Yeah,
they're fucked.
So my most recent, this lady, well, she's been coming to me now for 2 years. We got her stuff straightened out, but when she first came to me, because the tax preparer was incorrectly filing her returns, which we'll get into that too, self-employed. I definitely want to touch on the whole self-employed thing. So, long story short, he was incorrectly filing them. She owed them $37,000 from 2014 to 2017.
Oh my God.
So I was able to get it knocked down to, I think, $19,000, and then we got 2.5 tax returns took care of it, filing them properly.
Okay, but that's
Filing
not bad.
And guess what? Filing them properly, she actually has a business. She legitimately owns a cleaning company. Wow. So because he was filing them incorrectly and not putting it on the right form, when she's going into like a bank and, you know, trying to get a business bank account and things like that, they're like, this, you don't file a business. She wouldn't have even qualified for the SBA or the PPP legitimately had she still continued to go to him, had she not got those letters.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Knowledge is power.
I know, right?
And knowing the right people who have the knowledge.
So what do you feel about like people using like TurboTax and things like that? Do you think those services are good?
I mean, I don't think it matters what software you use. I think it just matters that you have somebody behind the software that's not just like, oh, that made it go up 1,000.
Yeah.
Oh, that made it go up another 500. Right. And it, look, if you're doing
I'll be like, damn, daycare, 400. Damn, that brought me up $1,000. Let me put 500.
Right. And I mean, if you're doing your own taxes, that's different, right? Because you're doing your taxes, you know what you're doing, what you know what you have and what you don't have, and at the end of the day, whatever your refund is, that's going in your pocket.
Right.
But when you have somebody else behind there playing with it for you and then charging you, you know, $1,500, $2,000,
and that's crazy. When I see
that's what happened to my daughter.
Like $1,500 and like to file my taxes.
Right. That's what happened to my daughter.
I'm filing basic fucking taxes.
Right. She's 18 and she's like, oh, Mom. She called me. She's like, "Oh, Mom, I'm getting."
See, and that's corporate.
And she's like, "Mom, I'm getting $5,000." I'm like, "How are you getting $5,000? You turned 18 December 20th. So where are you getting $5,000 on a tax return? You barely worked." "Oh, I don't know. They just said I'm getting," and they gave me $500 up front. And I was like, "That don't even sound right."
That's an advance.
I was like, "That doesn't even sound right." So I call her father, and I'm like, "Who the hell do you have her doing her taxes? Like, this is crazy." He's like, "I have no idea." So I'm talking to her and I'm like they must have put a child. They must have said you had some kind of business.
They probably put her in school and gave her all the missed stimulus.
Something.
Yeah.
So
because she's just turned 18 last year.
Right.
Yeah, so they probably put her in college or university. That's $2,500 right there. The missed stimulus is $1,400. So now we're at what, $3,900? And then they probably made her make some income. Did she have a job?
She did, but it wasn't anything substantial.
Not even like
$5,000. Not even $5,000.
So they probably just bumped it up a little bit and then made her qualify. And then they changed the rule. So you used to have to be 25 years old to get the earned income credit on your own with no kids. Because of COVID and so many young people working, they changed it to 19. But if you were 18 and you were homeless, you can check a little box saying that I was 18 and homeless, and it qualifies you for the EIC.
What? Wow.
Yeah. So that I probably just broke it down for you.
Yeah, you did. Because I was freaking out. I'm like, you're going to have to, they're going to audit you because this makes absolutely no sense. So it's going to throw up all kinds of red flags. And you know, at 18, they just think, you're trying to be negative. I'm like, bitch, I'm not being negative.
Did
Please
she get
listen
her refund?
to me. I don't think so. I think she ended up calling him, but they had to have filed it already. But I haven't heard anything of it. I totally forgot. Yeah. So now,
side note, call me.
Yeah,
yeah, because I can help her fix it.
Get it right. Yeah. Get it right. Holla at Jody.
Yeah, right. I mean, hey, that's ironic, right?
I mean, that's what you're here for. You know what I mean? So what were you gonna say about the self-employed?
Okay, so. Self-employed individuals, we can be self-employed. You can not have, say, a sun biz and an EIN. You can be a sole proprietor, meaning like I braid hair, I go and clean people's houses, I make plates and sell them on Instagram. Whatever you do, it's fine. But when you make that cash income, not only do you have to keep track of that in your expenses, but you have to file it on what's called a Schedule C. When you file it on a Schedule C, now when you have a job and you get a W-2 form, you notice on the W-2 it says federal tax, Social Security, and Medicare, right? All three of those come out.
Right.
When you work for cash income, you haven't paid any of those.
Right.
So when you file a proper business return, your refund, say with even 2 kids, is only going to be like around maybe $4 to $5, maybe $5,500, right? That's on the high end, depending on how much you made. The more you make, the lower it is, because they're taking all of those 3 taxes off the top.
Right.
Your refund might have been $8,000, but you owe us federal Medicare, Social Security. Now your refund's
so they have
$5,000.
to take it from somewhere,
Right. So when you say self-employed, but then you come walking out of an office and they're like, "Oh, you're getting $9,000 back," they have not filed it as a Schedule C small business. It's called a loophole. They file it on a separate line. It makes it exempt from federal Medicare and Social Security tax, and makes the IRS system believe that you have prepaid that tax to them via the mail. So you've mailed off vouchers or money orders or whatever, already prepaying that tax.
Oh wow.
So it'll catch up to you.
It does. That's how the lady that I was telling you that owed $37,000, he was marking her, she was self-employed, but he was using the loophole. So she not only owed all the refunds back, but all the Social Security, federal, and Medicare for all 4 years. Because it's not in their system. She's never paid it. It's supposed to come off the top of the refund.
But if you're self-employed, like, why do you have to pay Social Security and Medicaid or Medicare?
Because it still goes to your. It still goes to you at the
when you retire.
When you reach of age, whatever it is, 65.
Right, but you have your business. You know what I mean? You're making money, and you're just like, yeah, I'm not worried about retirement money.
No,
it doesn't work that way.
I mean, I know it doesn't, but it's just like, why?
It's part of your Social Security. You ever get that paperwork you get in the mail?
Yeah,
it says how much you like. If you died, you would get this much. That's what it goes towards. Just part of the government.
It's just the way it is. That part you can't change.
That's part of the money they.
All right. So what about the Medicare?
No, it goes towards your health insurance because they want to make sure you have health insurance when you retire.
Yeah. Remember, our health insurance right now is paying for the people already. It's
right.
It's like a hamster wheel, right? So it's revolving around.
No, that's very important because I used to work for United Healthcare. I had to explain the Medicare part to the elderly. So you have to learn how to talk elementary and learn how to break things down so they have an understanding. You can't tell them the way you learn the training.
Right, yeah.
You know, they don't understand. So you have to break it down, and then on top of Medicare, you have different forms of Medicare you have to entertain, and you have to explain to them. Then you have
A and Part D
and then there's Part A and B, which is Part C. So and then there's Part D only, which is prescription. So there's so much they throw at these old people that have no idea. And then there's Social Security, which is different. It's whoever they really can't afford the Medicare because they still charge you. You get Medicare. But it depends on how much money you make. You still may have to pay $300 or so out of your Social Security towards your Medicare health insurance.
That's why it says on the Social Security Part B deducted.
Yes, they take a deduction out of your check. Now, for people who have low income, they just get like a Medicaid, like kind of. It's just it's Social Security, Medicaid. So they get free Medicaid as an adult.
It just goes back to that saying that is more true than anything. There's 2 things in life that are inevitable: death and taxes. Okay, it is what it is. Yeah.
So, what do you feel about this Trump thing and his taxes? Like, what is going on with that? Because it was such like a big thing. They're still talking about it.
It is a big thing, but I mean, he's got a great accountant. The thing that I just disagree with is that it's not being released, and there's still no push to release it because they are public information.
Because what are they saying, that he hasn't been paying taxes?
Right. So, like I said,
how do you not pay taxes?
I mean,
that's what she said. He got a good ass accountant.
Yeah, he just there's a lot of loopholes, but that doesn't mean that he qualified for every loophole either.
Right.
I'm pretty sure if they went actually over his taxes, he'd probably owe them a good lump sum, or there may be some tax evasion or something. But I mean, Trump is a businessman, right? He ran the country like it was a corporation.
Right.
And honestly, I'm sure people are going to agree or disagree with this statement, but hey, if he wasn't so racist, he would have been great, right?
Yeah.
When he was in office, he was doing a lot of stuff and holding up his end of his word, right? But it's like the good with the bad.
Right.
And unfortunately, his bad kind of outweighed the good
Right.
because he just made people feel too comfortable with being
Yep.
narcissistic bigots.
Right.
And
Yeah, it was coming out, boy. When
Yeah.
Trump was in office, the racists felt so comfortable being
very
racist.
comfortable. Yeah.
They wouldn't even care. They on
Everybody,
camera and
Right.
everything. They did not care.
Right. And we saw, America's true colors come out. So that's I'm sure that's a whole nother topic for another day. But
know,
yeah,
right?
he ran it like a corporation,
He
and,
sure
and
did.
he did a good job at, cutting the taxes down, but it was beneficial to him and all
him
his
too.
bigwig friends too. So don't,
Right.
get it twisted. At the end of the day, he
Exactly.
wasn't really doing it for the little
Right.
people. It just happened to trickle down to us.
Right.
Yeah.
Those were the days. All right, and then another question I have.
Sure.
When people file exempt, when they work somewhere and they file exempt,
Throughout
what are
the
the
year?
pros? What are the pros and the cons to that?
Huge con.
Yeah?
It's huge. I don't even recommend it. In
'Cause you
fact,
end up owing.
unless you actually are deployed in the military, you're not even supposed to mark yourself exempt from taxes.
Oh, really? It doesn't. Does it ask that?
It's
On your W-2, is it?
No, not on the W-4. It doesn't specifically
Yeah.
state that, but there's a lot of HR people that'll be like, "Oh, mark yourself exempt for half of the year, and then the other half change it back."
Well,
and,
yeah, I've
Yeah.
done that. I've
Right.
done that
Yeah.
during
Oh,
my
trust me.
struggle. I got to
You
raise
wouldn't-
kids.
yeah,
I
you
need
wouldn't
all
be the
my
only one.
paycheck.
But here's
Yeah.
the thing: it does depend on your income. So when it comes time to file taxes, when I say huge con, a single person with no kids
Yeah.
making over 15,000
Right.
should not be marking themselves
Right.
exempt. You have no dependents.
Right.
You have no credits to eat up that tax. That's where you're going to get the phone. Hey, yeah, you owe like $900
Right.
this year. What do you mean? Well,
Right.
you made $26,000 and didn't pay any taxes, and that's what could be done. So definitely not if you're single. I always recommend to all of my clients, single with no dependents, put single 0. You'll never owe, and your refund's going to be more than $27.
Right.
So right, because single
kinda like a
people,
little savings.
they want to see a refund too, and that's
Right.
the thing. I have so many single people that are like, "Well, how come I'm not getting 5,000?" Well, unfortunately, that's a credit that's generated by them having children.
Right.
So unless you're about to go out and have a kid by the end of the
Right.
year,
You don't
know,
want to do that.
you
You'll
gotta-
be spending
yeah,
more than
if-
5,000.
That's
Okay.
what I tell them too. So you got to weigh that part out too.
Leave them
You might
babies
get
alone.
3,600 in child tax credit, but you're going to end up spending 9,000
That year.
in 6 months on
Okay.
that kid.
And lose your hair. Leave it alone.
Your body, everything.
Right. So definitely not if you're single. But then, I mean, if you're, making 20,000, but you claim 4 kids, obviously you're still going to get a refund back
Right.
because,
Right.
you are under a threshold where you don't owe that much tax back anyway because
Right.
of the credits from the dependents.
So which would you say worse? I'm talking about, like you said, the ideal thing, somebody with 4 kids or whatever. Filing exempt or filing and putting like 13.
It's pretty much the same
The
thing,
same thing.
Yeah, I
unless
would
they're
think
making
so,
like
yeah.
100,000 a year. So when you mark yourself, single with 13 kids, you have to start making a certain amount of money before it's taxed
Okay.
because you have 13 dependents.
Right.
So it's the same thing like if you have 4 kids, but you mark down that you have 7.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you're even more below. So
Right.
even though you claim 4, it may not eat up all of the tax. Again, it all boils down to how much did you make for the year.
Right.
But isn't it true you can only get earned income tax for like up to 2 kids or something? 2 or 3?
Earned income credit,
The credit?
is 2, and then you get a partial for the 3rd. But the child tax credit, they changed that. Now you can have 10 kids, and you'll get
And you'll get a credit for
either
each one?
36 or 3,000.
Yeah, now they're going to start seeing everybody file their kids.
Right?
That's what it was for. And actually, I was just about to say that too.
Yeah.
So everybody started claiming their own kids this year.
They're going to get audited.
Because there was no limit. Well, not even that they'll get audited. Now they know whose kids
Right.
belong to who.
Right.
Right.
So it's going to be difficult later if they change the law again to start being like, oh, claim 2, you claim 2.
Right.
If
Right.
I have 7 kids, normally you would split them up and
Right.
let family
Right.
or friends or whatever it's going to be difficult to do that if they change the law back.
But if you file, all right, you have 7 kids and you file all 7, you're saying that now you actually do get a credit for every kid.
The child tax credit.
Child tax credit.
Because before it was only 2, the first 2.
So age 1 to 4 is $3,600, and then 5 to 17 is $3,000. So let's just say you have, 6 kids that range from 6 to 12. You're going to get $3,000 a piece. That's $18,000.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. When are they doing
I need
this?
some kids to file.
That was on this year's tax return. Yes. So yeah. But then remember, they had the advanced child tax credit, right?
They had that.
Yeah.
So that did come out, and a lot of people were confused about that too. They're like, "Oh, but I thought that was a stimulus." No, that's why they put the word "advanced" in front of it.
But there was no way to stop the stupid thing. They tell you there was a number, but it wouldn't nothing.
You can
worked.
do it online.
Yeah, there was a box to click.
You literally just went online.
Well, by the time I got the letter to do that, it was already late. I was already on my 3rd month of getting it by the time I even got the letter, because I called my tax guy. I'm like, what is this letter? And he was like, oh, that's for you to stop it. I'm like, well, we're already in August or whatever month it was in. I'm like, it was too late now. So I was so
that came out, right?
Yeah.
So let's just say if your refund was $9,000, but you got $3,000 worth of child tax credit, now your refund is $6,000 minus whatever Janky's charging you.
Right. Another $2,000.
Right. But I did have a girl. She claimed all 7 of her kids, and because she didn't get her child tax credit advance for all, but
she got like $15,000.
She got 27.
Wow,
her refund was like 27.
I know she was crying.
I told her to buy a house.
Yes, I know she was feeling so blessed.
Yeah, right. She was at a club.
Listen, to each their own. And I tell her, I tell my clients, because a lot of my clients are single moms, and I'm like, look, I'm not your mom. I can't tell you what to do. But that's a lot of money.
But I'm giving you the advice.
You're already low income. You qualify for low income home buyer stuff. Right. You got 7 kids. You can literally take 10,000 of that money. Take the other 17, blow it. I don't care if you wipe your ass with it, whatever. But take 10 of it and put it down on a home, right? Because then instead of paying rent, you're paying a mortgage, and your mortgage is going to be cheaper than your rent.
Oh yeah.
Even with the prices right now, the mortgage is still lower.
Wow.
Yeah. But again, that's why I said that was like a unique scenario, because usually 2 of them are claimed over here, 2 of them are claimed over here, 2 of them are claimed over there. But this year, she claimed all of them. I honestly only thought, I've been doing her tax for years. I thought she had 3 kids. She has 7 kids.
Oh wow!
Because I don't file the taxes of the other people that were whoever they were. They don't come, because again, I don't do that. When you come to my office, if you don't have your paperwork, I'm okay with saying, hey, I'm just not the office for you.
Right.
Because I don't want to get audited by the IRS either.
I was going to ask you, so do you get in trouble? So, like, the one that did my daughters, that, because I was like, listen, if something happens, we're going to call. We're going to say something, because obviously you just turned 18. You don't know. He took advantage of you.
Right.
So do you, would they get in trouble too?
I mean, you can file a complaint. It's prepare a complaint. It's called a 14157. You can file it against them.
But that's just common sense. Does the IRS know?
Right. Does one complaint make them come kick the door down? No.
Right, no.
But after, a certain number of complaints, what they do is they watch what they're filing. So they remember when I e-file something, the IRS sees it, and they know that it's me, because we have what's called a PTIN number, which is basically like a unique it's almost like a social for filing taxes. So they know, oh, Jody prepared that. Jody prepared all of these. They can look at everything I'm filing.
Right.
So when there's like a pattern, everyone's getting refunds over 10,000. Everybody that's aged 18 to 25 has a school credit. They're like, oh,
it throws up little red flags.
Right. So that's how eventually those type of offices get audited, on top of complaints.
Okay.
People complaining about fees and things being filed incorrectly. It follows around on that PTIN.
Okay.
And the EFIN. So the EFIN is what's through the software. Again, it's another identifying 6-digit number that we have to keep. You have to get fingerprinted, background check, everything to get it.
Oh, really?
For real?
Yeah.
To be a tax preparer?
To e-file your own returns, yes. So a lot of these offices, one person in there probably has the EFIN, and everybody else works underneath that EFIN. That's why I don't have anybody working for me, because I have too many clients. I value their business, and I value that I'm keeping their stuff confidential.
Right.
And under wraps.
And you're legit.
You know that when you come to my office, there's no way your stuff is going to get leaked out. You don't have to worry about coming to me and the next year you're like, what?
Right.
Somebody claimed my kid already. You know,
Right.
like, because I sold your information to
Damn,
somebody.
that's what they do, Jody?
Yeah.
We could, this
That's
could go on
crazy.
for hours.
See, knowledge is power, and you didn't think you were gonna
Wait, but
be
that's
beneficial
what they're
today.
doing?
Very beneficial.
That's
today.
what they're doing. They're selling people's information.
Yeah, that's duh. Why didn't we
Let me
think of
tell
that?
you, craziest
That look like
situation
Mikey.
ever in a short story. Had a girl filing her taxes for a couple of years. Her son passed away in the summer in a pool accident. Now, when a child or a spouse passes away during the year, you can still claim them come tax time because they were still alive during that portion of the tax year. We go to file her taxes. The dependent's already been claimed. Now, remember,
And
her
this is
son
the
is
son that
deceased. Right?
Wow.
Her son's been deceased since the summer. Come to find out, because he wasn't the only one, but I guess there was an investigation done internally within IRS, but it was somebody at the hospital that was stealing the deceased patient's information.
Wow.
Yo,
And
these people
selling
are
it.
too smart.
Don't they make money already? They need more.
This was like 2000.
People are greedy.
2015, 16.
Wow.
Yeah.
But isn't
And
that kind of what was going on with the Wells Fargo thing? They were like selling people's account information, like
and they were
people was losing
money out of their
and all
account.
types of crazy
That kept
withdrawals
happening to
and
my
stuff.
friend. Yeah.
Yeah.
Her Wells Fargo, all of a sudden I have to get a new card. I'm like, why do you keep getting a new card? Because someone keeps taking my money.
Yeah.
And she was a nurse, so she had money, and she was a
good money.
traveling nurse.
Right.
Oh, shit.
So she was making money, and
Really
she
good
was
money.
like, so now there's an investigation because they think this was years ago, though. This was happening to her. And they end up saying it was something internal.
Right.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's exactly why people back in the day just put their money under their mattress.
Listen, I had a thing. I was looking,
Come up missing is somebody in the house.
there's scams everywhere. I was on Mama Rama on Facebook.
Wait, what's that?
It's just a Facebook page for like moms. You can post stuff.
Okay.
If you sell
Advice
stuff
and stuff.
or advice or resources.
Right.
So, I was like, hey, I'm looking for a part-time at-home job. Anybody know anything? Well, all of a sudden get pinged. And you look, and it's this nice lady on Facebook. Nobody I follow, but she's part of the group. So she's like, I DM'd you. I got the DM. And download this app. Okay, I download the app. So I'm like, okay, I'm excited. Like, what the fuck is this about? I download the app. Oh, you're going to get an interview. Make sure you answer all the questions and answer them promptly. Okay, no problem. So I'm answering the questions. Well, then what caught my attention was, as we get into like the direct deposit, does your bank accept mobile deposits? I said, what does that have to do with anything? So then I was like, are you a scam? So I just started going off.
Yeah.
So I went back in the
She was
group.
like, damn it,
I
so
was like,
close.
right? I thought I was going to have a quick part-time job. I was so excited. Because they said it was like 20-something an hour. I'm like, oh, that's decent to be working from home, part-time. So I went back in the group, and I'm like, girls, this is like a scam. And they're like, oh, we already know. Like, thanks.
Damn. So nobody was going to tell me?
Thanks for letting me know.
Yeah.
Ladies,
Anybody
this is a
could have
scam.
screenshotted that for
Something.
me.
So I screenshot it and I posted up.
Right.
But yeah, people are
Good.
trying to do anything. That happened to a friend of mine. Something happened with what was it? It was something with Apple, something with their phone with Apple. They Googled the number for Apple support, and they went on, and it was some other, I guess whoever picked up the phone were like, we'll go to the store, get a card, and upload it. Did it 3 times before he got tricked.
Somebody
Wow.
just texted
$200
me
each.
2 days ago saying that they were from Chase Bank and that I needed to click on this link because I won a contest. But it was an actual phone. It was a 954 phone number, so I called it back instead of clicking on the link. But nobody picked up, so I left a voice message.
Yep. Got out of $600. Like, the card's not working. Try it again. Went and got another one. Oh, this isn't working. And was giving them the number over the phone, and they had it. That happened to me. I went and bought a gift card from Walgreens, brought it home, went to activate it to give to my son for for being good or whatever. And when I opened it up, it was already scratched off on the back.
Oh, shit.
So, and then when I realized it, they opened it up and glued it back and put it back on the shelf. So they already had the card number, probably waiting for it to be activated. And I lost the money, but then I called the company, the Visa company, and then like a month, no, maybe like 2 months later, they sent it back to me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Let me get that
a million and one scams right now.
Yeah, they have the one, I know a lot of people that got caught with that one. Where they say they ask you for your Cash App. They're like, what's your Cash App? I'm going to send you some money. Right. And then I don't know how they do it, but it's like when you send your Cash App, they're like wiping your shit out.
Yeah, because they get the account and routing number off the Cash App.
I'm like, you ain't getting me because
I know.
I don't leave nothing in my Cash App.
I don't have
And when I do use it, I put my card on it, send whatever I have to send, and then I unlink my card. I don't leave anything on there.
Yeah. No, Cash App is it's like built for fraud.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally.
They say all types of encryption and shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of those. But the crazy thing is, I have a Walmart card too. That's kind of like, one of those prepaid cards. And I've had that for like 11, 12 years.
I have my Rush card.
I've never had any issues with it.
I've had my Rush card, never had issues.
One time I lost my card and they were just swiping away.
Right.
And they gave me all my money back.
Right.
I never had an issue.
Tell where it's used too.
Right. And then when I was on the phone with the lady and I was like, yeah, someone's making charges on me. She was like, oh, there goes another one. Like while I was on the phone with her, they swiped again. And I'm talking about stupid stuff.
Well, that was a big fraud 2 years ago because I used to also work for a merchant services company.
So, and people like using their card but then calling it in like it wasn't them.
Right. Well, I kind of like spread the word back in the day to all our struggling mothers, right?
2 times.
Well, this was like in 2001 because this is when the 9/11 thing happened.
Okay.
I was in training when that happened at this company. So we're learning how when you take your card, you go to Walmart, you swipe it. Well, that gets stored on like a merchant account and they get paid for all those transactions at the end of the night. It transfers to their bank account. So that's how the process works. So it was interesting to know. But then we learned about chargebacks and how to do a chargeback. And so, when I learned and I became more familiar with it, I was like, oh, help a few struggling moms out. You go to the store, you could just buy everything and then go home and say, I lost my card. Right? And then you're good. And then you get to keep other stuff and you get your money back. So, when you need some diapers, bitch, there you go.
Allegedly.
Right, allegedly. We don't know if it really happened
years ago. I don't know if they really did it or not, but I was just saying, that was my resourcefulness during times of struggle.
A lot of places don't take Cash App because you could get the Cash App card. A lot of places don't take it because of that.
Because you can call in
and they'll
dispute it.
Yeah, disputing is big right now.
Yeah.
Bank of America was number 1. They give you the money back within 24 hours.
Oh, really?
Yeah, back in the day. This was like in 2008. That's when all the foreclosure stuff started booming. In 2008 with that big Obama credit.
Yeah.
And that's when we got into the foreclosure
when I first
business.
Came down here and they were giving out the first time home buyer credit.
Yep. They were giving everyone home loans. Everyone's buying these $300,000 homes working at McDonald's at minimum wage. And then when the shit kicks in, they're all going to foreclosure. They can't afford anything.
Yeah,
I should have bought a house at the time.
I know, right?
That first time home buyer credit, I have people that are still paying that back.
Really?
Some of them didn't even know that it was put on their tax return because you could get up to $7,000.
That's true.
But you had to use that money to purchase a home.
Right.
Yeah, and that happened to my friend. She has to pay $500 every year.
Yeah.
Wow. Even if she did it on purpose though, or no?
No, like she did it on purpose. She got the money. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's people that they did it on purpose.
$500 a year.
$500 a year comes out your tax refund.
That's worth it.
It's paid off.
Oh, that's it. And no fraud charges, no weapons to the charges.
They were giving it out.
A lot of people too. There were more people that had it put on their return without their knowledge. Like there were tax offices that literally had lines wrapped around. Like, I don't know if you could go back and look at it, but they actually had it on the news and stuff. There was, like, people wrapped around the building trying to get this credit put on their return, but the tax people were charging them, like, $1,000, $1,500.
Right.
To fill out 2 pieces of paper and throw it on the tax return. And knowing that when they didn't buy the house and they couldn't submit the closing documents to the IRS, they owed it back, not them.
Wow.
It's the same like now. We're in 2020 doing the PPP and the SBA. Oh, sure, I'll do it for you. Just give me 10% of whatever you get back.
No, for real. We were just talking about this last time. I know someone that was doing that for people, filing the PPPs, and he was charging them X amount of dollars, and he made over a quarter million. Over 250,000 off of filing that for people. So his name is not attached to anything,
nothing, and nobody knows who it is because you're like, oh, my friend.
IP addresses.
Well, IP. Besides that, but other than that, his name is not attached to anything.
I'm sure they can get away with something like that if they're making all that money. I'm sure there's some way around this IP address thing.
That VPN thing.
That they can, like, block
the IP
it.
vanish?
I'm not technologically
they have
to know
this thing
anything
called
about that. I just know
there has
that
to be
the
something.
It scrambles your
the
IP
IRS
address.
was talking about using the IP addresses of the offices, and also like when there's a number of people in one area that were illegally or illegitimately getting the credit, they're going to be interviewing them.
In one area?
Yeah, so like if you
like
have,
in a
if you
city
have,
or county?
right, so if you have X amount of people in this area, and then they're going to write them letters and say, hey, how did you get this loan? And unfortunately, when you owe that type of money back, not everybody holds water.
His name is such and such. He lived right over here.
Right, and that's the thing. When it's all good when it's happening, but even the people that were doing it, it's going to backfire in some way at some
once
point.
They get in trouble, then it's
not going to be immediate. We're not talking about tomorrow, so don't nobody call me and be like, "Oh,
I know, right?
Act like they're coming for us now." No,
can you help me?
We're in 2022. Look at the technology now. Imagine it in 2025.
Right.
They're going to be able to push a button and link everything like,
right.
like, oh, you got an SBA, but you didn't file a tax return, and then all those people will just get letters. It's going to be
much quicker, yeah.
Right.
But then what about people just being like, I didn't understand the process, and this person just told me that
that's the thing. I don't think it'll be criminal, though. I think it'll just be a matter of
you
owe us money.
Right.
The IRS wants their money. Oh, you made $100,000. Okay, cool. Just file a tax return. Give us our $36,000, and we'll be good.
Right. I guess there's an instance where ignorance really helps. Yeah. Because they tell you, like, if you don't know the law and you do something criminal,
like, how would I know?
How would I know?
I'm saying it would be too much. Imagine if they had to do criminal charges against everybody that did the PPP or the SBA.
Right,
it would be
ridiculous.
Like 70% of the population.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of these government employees too.
Right, because we see them on the news.
They're just as sneaky, huh?
Right.
They be doing that shit too.
Yeah.
Man,
that's crazy.
All right, so we're gonna do a let's say with Jody.
Oh my goodness. This is her little silly little joke thing. Okay. Her little story.
It ain't no silly little joke thing.
I don't know what to call it.
It's real life.
Sometimes.
Now I feel like I'm in the hot seat, like on Ellen's show where I need my
Now
buzzer,
this I can't give you any heads up on. This is just something that comes randomly from her.
Yes.
Her head.
All right, so I want to try to do something that has to do with taxes.
Sure.
You're a tax person. Let me
try to come up with something dry and boring.
No,
it won't be dry and boring.
I'm just
she'll add a little excitement to it.
Okay, let's say someone comes to you and says that they're being audited, and you're like, okay, they're like, come to my house so we can talk or whatever, and you're like, okay, cool, and you go to their house and it's like a big ass fucking mansion. There's like 2 Rolls Royce and a freaking Audi in the parking lot, and then you come in or whatever, it's real decked out, and they're just like, okay, what can I do?
But what are they being audited for?
Their taxes. They're saying that they were committing tax fraud.
I would advise
in their big ass mansion and their 3 cars.
On that level, they would probably have to get a tax attorney on that, because I would advise anybody that's looking at tax evasion charges, definitely.
Okay, so what's the difference between tax evasion and tax fraud or tax whatever?
Tax evasion is like you're knowingly avoiding paying federal tax. You're either not filing your tax returns, or you're trying to keep cash money under the radar.
But wait a minute, I don't mean to go way back, but why do we file taxes anyway? If they're taking that money out, why do I have to file taxes to get it back? Like you took the money out. Like I want to just be like, yeah, fuck it, keep the money. Like why do I have to file taxes?
We have to go back to like the 1900s for that one. I actually, honestly, don't know the answer to that because it's been around forever. They don't really teach you the beginning. They teach you how to do taxes. They don't teach you like where did it evolve from or where did it start.
Like,
what's the logic behind it?
You took this money out of me working. You took your tax. Like why do I have to file to get it back?
I honestly think it's just a tracking thing. If I give you my honest opinion, I think it's just a way to just track. They just, the government wants to keep tabs on everything.
But if you have a job and you pay your taxes,
you're paying
your
taxes
job,
from your employment.
So that's them keeping tracking.
But then
so why do I have to file and get that
to get credits?
Right.
Because if you just have money coming out your check and you don't file a tax return, you're not going to get child tax credit. You're not going to get earned income
But why do you
credit.
get in trouble for that though?
Well, only if you make over a certain amount of money and you owe them taxes. So again, a single person making $35,000 a year, but they mark themselves exempt the whole year, they owe IRS money, right?
Okay, so like a regular person like me that I ain't doing no tax fraud, I'm just working and I go 3 years and I'm like, man, I don't even want no tax return and I don't file my taxes.
They look on their end, and if there's tax returns or not tax returns, tax forms on file, like let's say W-2s and whatnot, they'll actually look at them after 3 years. And if you are due a refund, they don't tell you. They just let you not file. But if you owe them money, they send you a letter.
Right.
Yeah.
But
so
wait,
you don't have
get
to
in trouble
file
for not filing though.
Right, if you owe them money. But if you don't owe them money...
Oh, if you don't...
so they
don't
they
have to
do
file.
That's what
review
I'm
it.
saying.
Okay.
They review it after 3 years.
She says they review it after 3 years, and if they see you don't owe, they leave your ass alone.
And they'll be like, oh, okay.
That's another thing that people don't know, too. They think April 15th is like the deadline.
No,
like,
it's
that's
not.
it. But it's not. The April 15th deadline
It's electronic,
really means...
right?
No. Actually, you can file right up until...
Before the end of the year, right?
Well, they usually shut the system down sometime in November to get it ready for the next year. But if you have a refund, you have 3 years to claim the refund. If you owe, you have to file by April 15th only to avoid the penalty of already owing them money.
Right.
And the interest all the way till the end of the year.
Right.
The only way to avoid that is to file an extension, which gives you until October 15th. So let's just say I file my taxes and I owe $1,000, right? But I'm like, dang, I can't pay $1,000 right now. But I don't want to file it right now because if I file it right now, the interest on that $1,000 is now starting from April 15th.
Okay.
So I file an extension, which gives me till October 15th. I'm going to try to save up as much of that $1,000 as I possibly can so that when I file on October 15th, I can put my banking information on the return and be like, okay, I have $800 to pay you. Now I only owe them penalties and interest on $200.
Right.
Okay. So you give all that advice?
Yeah.
She's giving it now?
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's
a lot of stuff to know. Everyone's different. Yeah, you got to know a lot.
Taxpayer is different.
How do you know all this stuff, though?
Probably 12 years continuing education. It's not mandatory to take continuing education. So as a tax preparer, you can literally just go get a PTIN and grab some software. But I do like 40 to 50 hours a year of continuing education.
Good.
I like to keep in good standing and know what I'm talking about so that I can educate. So just like you're like, oh, wow. Like that's a lot
for real.
Like,
you just hear the myths and the rumors and think that's what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
And then there's so many things that go around on social media these days. Like people will literally take a screenshot of their where's my refund and write something on it and it'll go viral.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, she filed January 21st and I filed January 15th, but she got her refund before me. And it's just like this big, huge thing that just explodes. Yeah. And that's another thing, just to squash that rumor. It doesn't matter when you file.
Right.
You can file January 2nd when they open, or you can file April 13th right before they're about to close. And your refund may take the same amount of time. The person that filed on March 10th might get their refund in 3 days, where the person that filed January 2nd is still waiting to get funded. Yep. It has nothing to do with anything. So when your neighbor calls you and says, hey, I got my refund.
Right.
You're
like,
wait, she filed 2 weeks after me. And then you call your tax preparer, like, why did my neighbor get hers first? We don't know. Right. Because every return that is e-filed, it goes through a computer. So if the computer doesn't catch anything, then it just gets funded, right? Because it's looking for normalcy, consistency.
Right.
If the computer catches something, then you got to look at it. Right. So like a real person actually like reviews it, makes sure, and then either we're like, oh, okay, it's good, we'll put it through, or this is interesting. You've never claimed this child before. Let me send you a letter. Okay. And that's how that is. It's completely random. Okay. There's no rhyme or reason to it.
So I have a friend right now. That's what's happening to her. She filed like as soon as they were taking e-filing, and she still hasn't got hers.
Has her preparer called to find out why?
No. She did her own.
Okay.
She did TurboTax.
The number one reason that it could be delayed right now is because she needs to verify her identity. So she needs to.
She did the ID me thing. She did all of that,
and she
called.
No, she did the ID.me, but did she go on on the IRS website and click verify my identity and then log in with the ID.me and answer the questions?
Oh, I don't know all that.
Tell her to try that.
She did the ID thing because I had to do that too.
Right. So if your return, let's just say you filed your return more than 30 days ago and it's still pending right now, you get an ID.me account. Whether or not you got your refund already or not, get an ID.me account, set it up, because it's going to be beneficial to you no matter what. Right. You can check your refunds, you can check your tax history. You just have access to everything, right? You don't have to sit on the phone and wait.
Right.
If you have filed your refund more than 30 days ago and it still isn't funded, go on irs.gov. In that little search bar, type ID verify and hit search. The second link that comes up, it says verify your identity now. Click on that. Follow the prompts to log into your ID.me account. And if when you log in through ID.me, the first thing that pops up says, did you file a tax return for 2021? You had to verify your identity. That's why it's still sitting there. So you'll answer the series of questions.
Yeah,
it's like 5 questions.
10 weeks.
And just also to clear one thing up, there's in those 5 questions, the last question is, did you select for direct deposit? So that can be confusing to people that went somewhere where the tax preparer is taking your preparation fee out of your refund. Yeah. So if you went somewhere where you did not pay that person up front and they're taking the preparation fee out of the refund, you click yes, it was direct deposit, and when you look on your tax return, you entered that account number because it asks for the last 4 digits of the account number on the return, even though that's not your account number. That's the tax bank. It's not the tax preparer.
Oh,
it's the tax bank. We're not allowed to touch your guys' money. So that's another myth. They think when the IRS funds, if I'm taking your preparation fee, that it's coming to my bank.
Well, and
then
that's
I'm
how they do it in the hood. The dude that file your taxes, it goes in his account, he takes his out and takes the money and comes bring it to you.
No, that's illegal. So if as a tax preparer, if you have all the illegal shit. Right. And if as a tax preparer, if I was to have your refund sent to my account, first of all, it would bounce back because now technology is caught up. It has to have your name. Okay. Or it has to be a tax bank. Okay. So I deal with a tax bank called Refund Advantage. There's a couple of banks. There's like 5 altogether. You can choose whichever one you want to go with. I go with Refund Advantage. So if you do your taxes with me, let's say I charge you $300, but you don't pay me up front. The IRS says, okay, her money's approved. They send it to Refund Advantage. Refund Advantage deposits my $300 into my account, and then yours either goes to your account, or I've already given you a debit card. Okay. Or I say, hey, there's a check ready for you because they told me to print a check. I literally just put a check in the printer and hit print. I can't alter the name, the amount, none of that. It just automatically prints. So when you're verifying your identity, if you do get to that account question, it's the account number that's listed on the tax return. So even though it's not your account, maybe you used your Chime or your Bank of America or whatever, and you're like, hey, that's not my account. It's the tax bank. Okay. So you put those in. Once you do that, you'll get a little congratulations. You verified your identity. Now you have to wait up to 9 weeks for them to finish processing. Damn. They say up to 9 weeks, but just so you guys know, it's usually 4 to 5 weeks.
Okay. Well, that's good to know because I'm sure everyone was entering their bank account number.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't give you like a little help button that says use the tax
or like
bank
the little
ID.
question mark that you
Right?
can hover
Right.
over and it tells
Come
you.
on, like
what
people
it's
are
for.
gonna know that's not common.
Yeah. Well, you need your copy of your tax return though, because it asks you your AGI. What's
Right.
your AGI?
Right.
What was your total refund? What's the last four of the bank account? Did you file single, head of household? So it asks you all of that.
Okay.
Wait, so even if you file with like a TurboTax and like I filed my own tax, it's still gonna have the tax bank number on
No,
there?
because you're preparing your own.
Okay.
And so you probably pay TurboTax using a credit card or something, right? So when your refund comes, if your refund's $9,000, the whole $9,000 is going to your account. So
Right.
you would put your last four.
Okay.
But only somebody that went to a tax office and had the preparation fee coming out
Right.
would use the account that's actually listed on the tax return.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that clarifies that.
Mm-hmm.
You got any more questions?
I did. So what do you do when tax season is over?
Audits.
You do. What do you mean? You help people with their
Yes.
audits?
Yes.
Oh, okay,
So I
okay.
have usually.
I always wondered what do they do when tax?
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people who do just like you'll see them.
Only
we're doing
seasonal.
taxes. I'm like, well, what do they do when it's not tax
Right.
season?
Right. So a lot of tax preparers are seasonal. They don't stick around April 16th. The phone is disconnected. The shop is closed. I stay open all year because from June till like September, October is when IRS sends out all their audit letters. So like people that are going to end up owing or they're being asked to prove, certain things. And it's not just dependents. It can be, like, oh, you filed this W-2, but the employer never sent it. All types of different things. And that's where I'm open. So.
I have another question.
Yeah.
Is it true about because I've seen a lot of people that they fucked up like that. They used their last paycheck, their last pay stub to file taxes.
Yes.
And didn't wait on the W-2.
Not recommended because
Right.
again, the IRS already has the information on file, so they know what you're going to file. So the more it matches, let's put it like this: the more accurate your tax return is, the less time they got to sit there and process it.
Right.
Okay.
They'll get it back.
Yeah.
Because I know a couple of people that got not audited, but like ended up having to do like an amendment or something because
Or they
used,
adjusted it,
yeah, they
yeah.
used their last pay stub, but then when they got the W-2, it was off by like $20 or something.
Yeah. Well, usually something like that, they won't do it. They'll just internally adjust it. But if it's off by thousands, then they'll either make you do an amendment or if they do it internally. That's the one thing you don't want is for IRS to internally process your return, right? Because they're doing it to their benefit. If you had a business, but you didn't claim all your deductions, they're not going to claim them for you.
Right,
They're
right.
just going to claim what you made.
Right.
So if you have a 1099 that was $20,000, but you're like, oh, I'm not filing it because I know I'm going to owe, right?
Right.
File it. Because if you had deductions, you can take them, whereas you might only owe them now, let's just say $1,200 after all your deductions.
Right.
But then if you don't file it and they do it for you, you owe
Wait.
$4,000,
Right.
$5,000, right?
Yeah.
Because there's no deductions. They don't have your deductions
Right.
on file. They
Right.
only have your income.
That's true. Okay.
Yeah.
So you could, benefit.
Yeah, and set up
be
a small
messing up
business.
yourself.
Right, yeah.
Set up a small business. And that's for anybody. Even if you're working a W-2 job, but you have something going on the side, the number one tax deduction is owning a small business.
Yeah.
Get a SunBiz. Well, that's here in the state of Florida, but whatever state you live in, get your articles of incorporation, your LLC, your Inc., your partnership. Get your IRS EIN number. Keep track of your income and expenses. Get a business account. There's banks right now that have business accounts with fees as low as like $10 a month. No minimum balance. As long as you're putting money in that business bank account, it doesn't matter if you swipe your card the next day and buy, you do hair, and then the next day you go crazy at the hair store and buy every, thing that you wanted, this new curling iron, whatever. You can write it all off because it's all, documented. It's legitimately on paper.
Right.
Okay.
As a business.
I just have more
Right.
questions later on, like off, just like,
Yeah.
how do you even start all that stuff? Because, okay, so I have a friend, she's an attorney, and we were talking real quick one day, and she was like, you need to get a SunBiz, start your own corporation, and you can use that to build yourself while you're still building your own personal credit. And, and she was explaining how her and her sisters are going together buying their mom a house with their business, and stuff like that. So, but then I was thinking, okay, well, I have to have something to say I have a business. I have to be doing something. I have to have the money come from somewhere. Aren't they going to wonder, like, don't I have to account for everything that I'm doing? So then I step back. I'm like, well, how am I going to start a business? I have to think of something that I legitimately want to do.
Right.
So then that's where I got stuck, and I just left it alone.
But it's not even, so you could still be a sole proprietor though, and you can keep, but then you wouldn't have a business bank account, but you could actually keep, let's just say you do hair, but you also clean houses, and you also, there's like 1,000,001 hustles that you do. That's fine. Just document it. Take a receipt book, right? Write down that you made, I did Jessica's hair today in these type of braids, and I made $100. Deposit it into your bank account, because then they see $100 went in on that day, which matches that receipt.
Right.
Gotcha.
But then when you go to the hair store, because you're not using a business account to buy your new curling iron,
I'm using my own.
You're using your personal, but you're keeping the receipt, right? Because now you've already shown that you made that money from doing business, but now you're spending it on business too.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I say too, like when you have a business account, it's more legitimate, because I can swipe my card, but it'll say Walmart. They don't know what I bought. Right. It could be groceries, or it could have been a whole bunch of office supplies. Mm-hmm. So now, because I keep the receipt and I'm using my business account, I can show you on this receipt that I spent $150 on office supplies. I bought new pens and paper, and I needed a new printer and ink and whatever, But you're just keeping it documented. When you have that, it's a lot easier to walk into an office. You shouldn't even trust yourself walking into an office with something written down on a piece of paper. Mm-hmm. So I did have a young lady this year. She came into my office. She made an appointment, came in. She slid one piece of paper across, and she said, "Oh, this is all my stuff for my business." I said, "Oh, okay, perfect, no problem, right?" So I'm thinking, okay, so I'm like, "Oh, what about your SunBiz?" "Oh, no, I don't have that." "Okay, no problem. Do you have an EIN number?" "No, I didn't get one of those either." "Okay, so that's cool. I'll help you set it up though." But then I looked down at the piece of paper, and it said exactly this. It said income $100,000. Expenses $86,000. Total profit $14,000. So I'm like, this isn't really going to work. She's like, "What do you mean? I kept track of everything." I'm like, "Do you have like bank documents and receipts and everything to back this up?" She's like, "No, I just know." I'm like, no, that's not going to slide. You're at the wrong office.
I didn't even own a business.
Right. So that was just somebody, in her instance, I think she was trying to get a tax filing on file, because she probably did an SBA or a PPP, right? But I'm not going to file something that says you made 100,000 and lost 86 of it, but you don't even have a single receipt, a SunBiz, an EIN. Like, you literally have nothing. Right. Now, I'll believe somebody that comes in and tells me they made, 14,000 doing hair all year, but they didn't know how to keep track of it. Okay, and I look on your Facebook, and you're constantly posting people's hairdo. Okay, let me show you, how to get this together and make it legit. Right. But no, you can't just 100,000 and you spent 86 of it on supplies and equipment.
What's the business?
Right. We didn't get that far, girl.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
That's so funny.
Man. No, but this was definitely
needed,
enlightening, and
thank you. I'm
come
really glad.
Back.
Yeah, I'll be happy to.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about all the SBA stuff.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'm actually small plug for myself.
Go ahead.
I'm going to Statesboro, Georgia, June the 12th to the 15th. There's actually a lot of people up there that are having tax issues in that area. So if you're in that area and you need assistance with your taxes, you can definitely get in contact with me. My number is 954-226-1326, or on Instagram at tiptoptaxes954.
Nice. Tip Top Taxes 954.
Say that
yes,
fast,
ma'am.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Tip Top Taxes.
Oh, look, I have a little video that I do. It's called Tax Talk with Tip Top.
Oh,
and
God.
my youngest son is like, "That's a tongue twister.
Yes.
How do you say that?" Like over and over again, Mommy. And I'm just like, I don't know. I think
now
I'm just used to saying it by now. But
what
yeah,
is
if
it?
you follow
Tip
me
Talk?
on, Tax Talk with Tip Top.
Talk with Tip Top.
Yeah. So I just do, I try to educate people.
Yeah.
So I do like little 30-second videos, like
That's
1 to 2 times
cute.
a week, and just say, hey, just letting you guys know this, or this is happening, or
Right.
hey, if you heard about this is not true, this is true.
Right.
Just giving them little tips and tricks and trying to educate people so that you can just be more aware and I mean, just not be taken advantage
Yeah.
of. Like,
Smarter
Well,
decisions.
that tax money is yours. At the
Right.
end of the day, nobody should be charging you $1,500 to do a personal tax return. I don't care what they're putting on there. Like,
Thank
that's
you.
just way too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good information. Thank you, Jody.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes,
I really
definitely.
appreciate it.
Y'all follow Jody at Tip Top
Top
Tax
Taxes
954.
Yeah.
Love it. Jess Aggressive.
Your girl T True. Motherfucking breathe easy. 2 times. Be out.
That was so good, Jody. That was a lot of good information.
Yeah, for
Made
real.
me
Because
feel
I'm sitting there, I'm
so
like,
much more comfortable because literally I did not look at the camera, not one
I know.
Oh, it's okay. I don't either. I don't know.
Thank you. Yeah, I was nervous about the camera because I've always been like behind. Even when I was doing the music, I'm like behind the board, behind. I never was.
That's like the guy that came last week. You remember he did not want to get on
Yeah,
camera
he didn't
because
want to.
he's
We had to
the
keep telling
videographer.
him.
He's just like, no.
Right.
And I'm like,
So now I
on.
can tell Simone too because you guys will love her.
she does taxes too?
No, that's the one that has the smoothie shop. So she's
Oh.
a young African American
you wanted more women.
Right.
Yeah,
that's what I was
that's
telling
what I was
Rocky. I was like, I
telling
need
her.
more females
Yeah.
because it's just guys are the only ones that usually
So
respond
she
to
has
me.
a smoothie shop. It's actually booming. She's about to look into opening a second location. So
good.
she'll be
Oh,
good.
nice.
I think hers is when? End of April? No, your end of April?
Yeah, you're May 10th, I think.
Yeah, or maybe she was, I can't remember. But yeah, that was the one that was supposed to come the week before, but it was like super last minute and her daughter called her from the army.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
she
okay.
just got back because her daughter just graduated from the army. So she
Yeah, that's
just
what she
came
was
back
saying.
yesterday.
She was like, I cannot miss this. And I was like, yeah, no doubt.
They give her 15 minutes every Sunday to talk on the
Yeah.
phone. So she doesn't know when they're going to call.
That's ridiculous.